Okay, well, you see we're not really doing anything with these variables yet, but, okay, boolean t equals true. Now, you can look at this statement here, and you can probably guess what's going to happen. The computer goes to the if statement. As soon as it hits that, it'll evaluate whatever is in the parentheses. Since t is true, it's going to print out this. If t is false, which it's not, but if it was, which I'll show you, I'll change it, it'll print out false. Okay, it'll print out what's under the if-else statement. Let's compile this and run it. Oh, I haven't changed that. Prints out true. Okay, and let's make t equal to false. And you see it prints out false. Okay, now let's put this to use a little bit more. If a is greater than b, or less than b, and a is less than 7. No, a is less than c. Now you see what I did here? I created a group, so I can actually put more than one statement under the if statement. More than one command under the if. So, and you do not have to have an else statement. So, you'll see here, well, there's the first answer, and a is the smallest, 5. Now let's just change this, so a is not the smallest anymore. We'll make a 7. Actually, a can even be 6. Because even though it's smaller than 7, that'll be true. It is not smaller than 6. 6 is not smaller than 6. So, nothing happens. Okay. And now, let's add an else statement onto here. Let's actually make this an else if statement. You can see we'll just tack on another if. It's nothing new. If I just wrote it like this, you could see, well, I'm just adding another layer, but it's common to write it like this. So if a is less than c, I don't have to do that. If a is less than c, you notice I don't actually have to make new Boolean variables every time I want to do this. They're optional, but you can use them in certain situations, which we'll come up to later. And let's add another one. Wait a second, is this going to be true? A is less than b, else. You know, else a is oh, here's how we can make this possible. After a while, you get used to Boolean logic. It's actually a branch of mathematics that you can study really in depth, but just knowing the basics, you can function in Java. is okay. And now let's make this 5. Oh, forgot semicolon. Alright. A's in the middle, and it's 6. Now let's change this. A is 4, so it's the smallest. And you'll see A is the smallest. And 8. A is the largest. Okay, so you can see Boolean variables really useful. You're going to need them for whatever you do in programming, basically. Yeah, that's about it for if statements, at least. Now let's get into loops. Let's do while loops first. Okay. Int I equals 0 while I is less than 10. And remember, this I++, it adds 1 to I. And this is where it's most useful, is in while statements, and the next type of loop we'll cover is for statements. You can see that it's going to count up from whatever I starts as, up until it reaches 10, and it will not print out 10. Because, okay, here's how it works. It's going to run through, it'll hit this statement, it'll evaluate this Boolean expression, and if it's true, it'll go through this operation, and then once it gets to the end, it'll go back up and reevaluate. If it's true, it goes through. Hits here, reevaluates. If it's true, it goes through, and as soon as it hits false, it's just going to keep going with whatever code is below it. So you'll see this is going to print out 0 through 9, and did not change what is up in main, so I could have got to do that. Okay. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, let me just show you something here. This is 10. It's not going to do anything, it's just going to skip this whole statement. So, there you go, nothing happens. Okay, that's about it for while statements. And you can see you can go the other way. Minus minus. I'm not sure if I actually covered this with you guys. It just does the same thing as plus plus does, except for the opposite. It subtracts 1 from I. Oh, I did something wrong here. While I is greater than 10. Oh, well, I is greater than 0. Okay, this is going to count down from 10 to 1. There you go. 10, 9, 8, 10, 6, 5, 4, 0, 1. Okay. For statements. Or for loops. Now, a for loop, it's the same as a while loop, except for it's very restricted in that you have to set it up a certain way, and it can only, well, now you can use it like a while loop, but it's meant to be used this very strict way. For int I equals 0, I is less than 10,